Last time we read Herbie Jones, Mia and Owen were correct. They answered that Sarah, Mr. S is helping Sarah by writing their own stories, don't laugh at me stories. So you were correct. All right, we're going to read chapter 3. So please get your book ready and open up to page 12. Don't laugh. Herbie got started right away. Oh, and now this is going to be all spelled incorrectly, so we're going to have to do our best to read it. I don't spell well, but I like to write. It's no fun to have someone laugh at your story because the words are spelled wrong. I don't like it. If you know how to spell a word, you can tell me. Just don't laugh. Did you notice all the incorrect spellings? In your packet, you're going to go ahead and the paragraph is written wrong right here. I'd like you to rewrite it right here, but spell the words that are incorrectly spelled, spell them correctly. When Herbie looked up, lots of kids were still writing. 10 minutes later, Mr. S passed around his plastic microphone. I love the way you read your work on the microphone. We can hear every word. This time, though, I want you to do something extra. When the person is finished reading, clap your index fingers. If you won't laugh, it's kind of like a promise you'll try to keep. Herbie practiced clapping his fingers. It hardly made a noise, but it was fun. Who wants to go first? Mr. S asked. Everyone looked at Annabelle. Her hand was not up. That's strange, Herbie thought. Why does Herbie think that's strange? You're right, because Annabelle is usually the know-it-all who likes to talk a lot. I'm ready, Ray said. All right, Mr. S replied. Ray put the mouthpiece a little away from his mouth and began. Don't laugh at me when I read a word wrong. It stinks, but guess what? I can read 3 enormous words. Vikings, Minnesota, and cheeseburgers. When everyone laughed, Ray looked confused. He looks confused because they're supposed to do this, right? But are they laughing at him or are they laughing because the story is funny? There's a difference, isn't there? That laugh was not a mean one, Ray, Mr. S explained. You write funny endings. We enjoyed your story. See? Look around. Ray did. Everyone was clapping with their index fingers now. The class says they won't laugh, Ray, if you read a word wrong, Mr. S said. So they all agreed. They said this, and that is their promise. They will not laugh at him. Sarah went next. I stutter. I don't like it when I can't get the words out. I don't stutter when I read or sing. I see a speech therapist. She's nice and she helps me. Please don't laugh at me when I stutter. It makes me sad. As soon as she finished, Sarah looked up. Every single person was clapping with their index fingers, even Annabelle. Sarah beamed. The class promised. Then Margie shared her story. I can't read well. I make lots of mistakes. Raymond and Margie exchanged a smile. Sometimes, she continued, someone laughs at me when I read a word wrong, like Fred for friend or poop for pop. Most of the children covered their mouths. They tried hard not to laugh, but there was giggling. You bring up an interesting point, Margie, Mr. S said. There are some words that make us laugh. We can't help it. You just said poop. That makes us laugh. So does underwear? But that kind of laughing is not mean. Margie nodded. I know what you're saying, Mr. S. I always giggle when Mom says we're going to order the poo-poo platter. Poo-poo platter means like a platter with lots of things on it, like chicken wings and mozzarella sticks. But poo-poo is a funny word, isn't it, for kids? Herbie and Ray cracked up. Mr. S chuckled too. That's a great example, Margie. When everyone clapped their fingers, Margie pumped her hands in the air. Yes. Now, let's see, the teacher said. Who else wants to share "Don't laugh at me" stories? John did. He asked the class not to laugh at his asthma problem. Philip asked the class not to laugh when he has a booger. He said just tell him about it. He carries handkerchiefs. That's like a napkin or a Kleenex that you wash. Annabelle was last. She slowly took the microphone. Herbie was curious about what she'd say. Annabelle was the best speller and reader, and she didn't have big ears or boogers. Are you curious about what Annabelle's gonna say? Annabelle cleared her throat. I think I wrote something different. Good, Mr. S replied. I like variety. Annabelle held up her paper. Herbie noticed her sentences were written neatly. I know a lot of facts, even about guppies. Sometimes I don't share them because people think I'm showing off. Please don't laugh at me because I'm smart. Mr. S looked at his students. They were clapping their fingers. The class says they won't laugh, Annabelle. Annabelle clasped her hands together like she had just won a soccer game. What are the extra guppy facts? Sarah asked. I'd like to know. Annabelle gave Sarah a warm smile. Well, we have fancy guppies at home in our aquarium. You do? Ray asked. Annabelle nodded. They are wild guppies of Florida. Their water has to stay between 75 and 85 degrees. I check the floating thermometer in the tank every day. They have a reddish-brown body. Their tails have black dots. I can bring a picture of them to class. Cool, Herbie replied. Bravo, class, said Mr. S. I'm putting your great stories up on our bulletin board. I'm hoping they will remind us all to be kind to one another. Herbie nodded. He decided he wouldn't toss Annabelle off their second grade ship. At least not right now. Does he mean literally throw her off a ship? No, it's a figure of speech. He means he's going to keep her as a friend in second grade. At the end of the day, Mr. S handed out the notices. Don't forget to bring in your slippers tomorrow. Ray quickly crumpled his up and stuffed it into his desk. He wasn't bringing his notice home. All right, so that was the end of chapter 3. I'm going to have you comment below. When the students share their stories, how are they supposed to show that they promise they will not laugh? So what do they do to show them they will not laugh? All right, we are going to end right there, and next time we'll read chapter 4.